Neil Carlson here in Bemidji, Minnesota, where the recent rape of an 11-year-old and search for two young people, Nevaeh Kingbird and Joshua Jourdain, has fueled all kinds of rumors. At this point, just one person has been charged in the sexual assault case. Here's Bemidji Mayor Jorge Prince with a reassuring message about all these disturbing crimes.
Now, I do want to take a moment and I want to address some things that have happened in our community recently. Again, these are my own thoughts and my own words. As we all are regrettably aware, there was a sexual assault of an 11-year-old minor that took place at the end of September. This was a disturbing, shocking, and heartbreaking event for our community and for the victim and her family. I really am heartbroken for the victim and for everyone that was impacted, and I offer my sincere thoughts and prayers for her and for her family. As mayor, I see my responsibilities as twofold. First, to do everything in my power to make sure the rights of the victim are respected and that justice is served. Second, to work to ensure that our community is safe for everyone. It is these two things that I remain focused on as I carry out my elected duties. I know there are many questions that people have about what happened. I have a lot of questions too. However, this is an active investigation, and so law enforcement must use caution in how much and when information is released to protect the integrity of the investigation. I know many of the Bemidji police officers and investigators over the last 3 years. I've spent time with many of them. They're good people doing a really tough job. They're mothers and fathers, and they're community members too. And I know they're committed to conducting a thorough investigation and addressing our community's concerns as appropriate. They care about this case, so do I. This investigation is complex, and it involves several law enforcement agencies. Therefore, I believe it is important for our community to give investigators our support and the necessary time to do their jobs appropriately. Over the past 2 weeks, I have had conversations with both the White Earth and Red Lake tribal councils. Although we were meeting on other matters, they each took time to express to me their concerns regarding this terrible incident. I answered their questions as best I could and actively listened to their concerns, including the cases of other missing Indigenous people in our community. Now, we know there are people who have been missing in our community for some time, including Jeremy Jourdain and Nevaeh Kingbird. As some may know, another search for them was conducted in September in partnership with the Minnesota State Office of Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives, or MMIR, and the Bemidji Police Department. There were over 100 people helping search, which I believe is now the 14th search conducted in our city. I attended the search so that I could help where I could and learn more about the resources that exist for doing searches, such as those provided by MMIR, as I believe these kinds of resources are important for our community. I believe there will be more searches in the future, and I encourage everyone in our community to get involved, as these families need our support and they need answers to find out what happened to their loved ones. Lastly, I realize that there has been much conversation in our community about human trafficking. This is an important discussion, as we know this is a serious issue in our nation. As it relates to our city, I think it's important for you to know some of the efforts of the Bemidji Police Department in this regard. As early as 2013, our department was proactively placing our officers through specific training dedicated to identifying and stopping human trafficking and placing educational material in all the hotels in our city. In 2015, our department obtained grant funding to help form the North Star Task Force, which consisted of neighboring law enforcement agencies, including the White Earth Nation Police Department and the Leech Lake Department of Public Safety. In 2016, our department participated in the University of Minnesota's Sex, Trade, Trafficking, and Community Wellbeing Initiative, which allowed us to have a voice and input regarding demands and trends in our area. In late 2016 and 17, the department recognized the high number of juvenile runaways in our area, and they worked with our city attorney to find a way to utilize their social media platform to post information about missing juveniles, which has been successful in helping locate some of those people. In 2018, our department updated and trained all of our officers on a new response to missing persons policy. This policy is based on best practices from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Minnesota BCA Missing Persons Clearinghouse. And in 2020, a Bemidji Police Department detective recognized a flaw in the tracking warrant law during a missing person investigation. With input from her and assistance from the Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association, Chief Mike Maston testified in front of the Minnesota legislators, once at the Senate Judiciary Committee and a second time at the House Civil Law Committee, regarding specific language changes that were needed. The initiative resulted in a law change that helped our department in other missing person investigations. And lastly, since 2015, our department has been active members of the Human Trafficking Investigators Task Force. This task force is organized by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension and consists of multiple agencies from across the state who work collaboratively on investigations regarding human trafficking and sexual exploitation of minors. Now, I give you some of this background because often the public isn't aware of how much work or time is being invested by departments in the background as departments seek to be proactive, especially our police department. And I think you can see from what I've shared with you that human trafficking has been and continues to be important to this department, and they continue to invest time and resources in the protection of our community. I realize that recent events have been shocking and traumatic for our entire community, and that they're appalling. And I think we all want to see justice served in a safer community for all. I want you to know that I'm committed to those same goals, and I believe our law enforcement agencies are as well. And I just want to communicate that to you, that everybody's working hard to get the answers that everybody wants and the justice that all victims deserve. I want to thank you for your time, and as always, I welcome your feedback. Thank you.